All right, welcome everyone to the Sam Powell podcast. As you can see, I've got a guest with me this week, the first honorary guest of the Sam Powell podcast, Francis De Bono, my best friend and housemate of like 15 years now. Would you like
time.
Yeah, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, I am Sam Powell's housemate and best friend of 15 years. I'm very excited to be on this podcast and discuss the next month's activities.
Yeah, so the reason why Francis and I have decided to do this podcast is today when we were talking about our finances, talking about the cost of groceries to feed ourselves, which is something that is quite commonly spoken. We speak about it quite a lot, and it's frequently been spoken about over the past couple of years. And it doesn't seem to add up or make sense to us how it can be so difficult to feed one person, let alone a family or a partner. And we feel as though we're earning decent money in our lives. We're not we shouldn't be struggling, essentially. No. It shouldn't be this difficult. No. And so the challenge at hand is how well can we feed ourselves and manage our finances and the money that we spend on our groceries for the next month.
Yes, that is the goal.
Yeah. Why don't you introduce us to first where we are, what city we're in, where in Melbourne are we? Yeah.
Yeah. So we're in Melbourne. We're living in St Kilda in Melbourne. We live in a fairly decent apartment. We pay pretty reasonable priced rent.
Yeah. How much is it? Do we pay each?
$230 a week, I believe.
Yeah. So it's $1,086 a month.
Yeah. So $250
each.
Just a little bit over $250, which is very reasonable.
Very reasonable compared to what most people pay in Melbourne. Yeah, most people pay $300, $350 a week.
Yeah.
A lot of people, if they're living on their own, $500 a week.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And we both make a fine income.
Yeah.
Especially for our age.
Yeah.
I think we make
I'm pretty sure. I think
decent income.
I got a feeling I could get I'm liable if I talk about it because I think there's a.
Oh, it's in your.
I think there might be something in my contract about I can't. I know at least in other people's contracts. I'm not sure if it is in mine, but
I'm meant to discuss.
I make $90,000 a year inclusive of super. So after super, that's roughly $78,000.
Yeah, right. And I think I would make probably similar, maybe a little bit more when you take in sort of bonuses and extra money on the side from my job.
And this is the tips. Yeah. So what do you do for work?
Yeah. So I work in hospitality in what I would describe as a middle management role. And I've got a decade of hospitality experience.
Yeah. How long have you worked at this place?
I've worked there for 2.5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. In a middle management role.
Yeah. And how many hours a week do you work?
And I work 38 hours a week.
Yeah.
A little bit over every now and then. And I work one Saturday night on a higher rate. And every now and then I work Sundays on a significantly higher rate regarding weekend penalty rates.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how old are you?
I'm 27, almost turning 28.
Yeah. And I'm also 27, just about to turn 28 in a couple of weeks' time. And I work as a business consultant, a market research consultant in a what we'll say is a higher end boutique firm. So I suppose the foundation that we're setting here is that we're probably living what an average existence for most people our age. Maybe are we? I don't know. I used to work in hospitality. So I had about a decade there as well. You'd think a decade in any industry, you'd be sort of pushing the upper limits in terms of the positions you're in, how much you're earning. You'd think after a decade. I know say the generation before us would speak to, well, no, that's a 20-year thing, but people shift their careers a lot more now. And
a decade is generally considered
it's a long amount of time.
enough time to develop a niche set of skills that can, by a decade you're looking to seek some
Decade's a
large
long
rewards.
time. Exactly. Like,
And I think I don't make bad money for hospitality. The main issue is it just seems very similar to what I was making 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah, what did we say the other day? I've never earned so much money but felt so poor before.
That is exactly the how I feel.
Yeah.
And I think another thing is looking at our lives now compared to how they used to be. I remember I would go out 2 to 3 times a week and drink alcohol.
Like you're saying, going out to like a bar.
Yeah,
like
go out to a bar when things were still very expensive, not as expensive as they are now. And I still don't think I have that much more money now than I did then when I was doing all these other expenses. I think that's the shocking thing for us. We look at our expenses and they're really not extravagant at all.
No.
There's no splurges. Not making these big mistakes. It's all very calculated.
When we used to go out regularly, when I used to drink like alcohol, say when we were in, our earlier 20s, we would at minimum once a week go out to a pub or a bar or a club, minimum once a week.
Yeah. Exactly.
More often than not, it was like 3 times a week.
Yeah, definitely. And there was a beer here, a beer there.
Yeah.
And you were probably out more in general.
Yeah.
And therefore spending money. At uni, you would always buy lunch. I never took my lunch to uni. And then, you're having a beer after uni. You're having a few coffees throughout the day bought at uni.
Yeah.
Whereas now, that's not the case for me. Like I get free coffees at work.
Yeah.
It's not the case. And I come home.
Yeah, I'm trying to think back then, say working in hospitality, and when I was working, say 3 or 5 days a week, that's, one meal I'm getting there is like a staff meal. And maybe only looking back on that now, I can appreciate it's not something you've really ever engaged in.
No, at other places I have, but not too much. But that is a very big factor. You are saving money on that meal.
Yeah.
A lot of the time it's not enough. It will just help you throughout the day. So it's a little snack almost.
Yeah.
But
to think now I'm not spending any money on alcohol, any money on cigarettes, any money on just like cover fees, and I couldn't feel more poorer. It's crazy.
That is true.
And it's not, I think the purpose of this podcast and this challenge, which you haven't exactly described yet, is that we don't think we're that unique.
No, we're pretty average. We're pretty standard.
In terms of the struggle, like everyone's...
And we're not buying 4-wheel drives. We're not buying new things. We're not going away every week.
Yeah.
We do go surfing once a week.
Yeah.
So we're driving down there, a few little snacks, but we're not living an extraordinary lifestyle. It's pretty within our means.
Yeah.
And we are the average.
Yeah.
Sort of 28-year-old.
Yeah.
You could say.
I don't know. Potentially we're a bit below average.
Yeah.
Potentially.
Yeah. Most 28-year-olds I know are still going out sort of once or twice a week.
Yeah. I'm trying to think what other friends I've got that are like... Yeah. We don't do any of that.
No.
We don't do any of that.
No. Yeah. Even the people I work with are often once or twice a week going out for a few drinks after work.
Yeah.
Constantly going out for dinner quite a bit once a week.
Yeah. People eat
and
Uber Eats
I'm probably going out
a lot
for dinner
as well.
Yeah.
That seems to be a very common thing. People eat a lot of Uber Eats.
A lot of Uber Eats. A lot of takeaway in general.
And so I think some more context is that most of the time we're cooking like 90% of our own meals. It's very rare. Like I might get takeaway once a week. I pick up some food on the way home from the gym once a week. You're getting some Uber Eats after like the couple late nights that you work.
So 2 closes a week. I would probably do Uber Eats.
Yeah.
Then, and each one of those is probably $40, $50.
Yeah.
That's sort of the minimum you can pay.
Yeah.
So,
But it's pretty, but in that, Francis and I will go to Woolworths and we'll go there just to pick up food for like the night, like that night's dinner, or maybe also thinking about tomorrow's like lunch. and we'll come back and have, say, like, what was your shop the other day that cost $83?
$83. Yeah. So I went to the shops and I planned 2 or 3 meals out of it. And what did I buy? I bought chicken thighs. So a large portion of chicken thighs for
it's like
2 meals.
Yeah.
I did buy some very cheap coffee.
Yep.
It's the cheapest brand you can essentially
Yeah.
buy.
Victoria, the 1 kilo, it's what, $10?
The classic. It's delicious.
Yeah.
Baking soda toothpaste, $3. And 1 steak. Did buy a Scotch fillet, so that's $14.50. And I believe I bought some rice. And there might have been a couple of other things, but nothing large. I don't think I even bought a sauce. I bought some canned tomatoes.
Yep.
And I believe I bought Coles brand 300ml cream.
Yep.
And it cost me $82. And in my mind, I said, all right, $82, that's 3 meals. That's not
Was it
too
3
bad.
or was it 2 meals?
I did get 3 meals.
Okay.
I made butter chicken with all those ingredients, and I ate a steak for lunch. So that was 3 meals for me.
3 meals, $83. That's still over $25 a meal for a home cooked
meal, which is ridiculous. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think
fucking wild.
Yeah, exactly. And you and I are not people often talk about going through uni and living off 2-minute noodles. You and I simply know that like that's just not a good way to live your life. So we never subscribe to that. Like there's no
We're also not in uni anymore.
No, we're not in uni.
Like we shouldn't be just eating sausages and bread and like 2-minute noodles and fucking rice.
I think we both
beans.
make the average.
We're just below the average Australian income. The average Australian income is $103,000 a year,
so
I think, $104,000. Yeah, so we're just below that. So we shouldn't be in a position where we're forced, and we've got no children, no mortgage, which doesn't mean we don't try to save money to go towards, say, a down payment, socks, whatever it is. But we don't have other very significant expenses in our life where we should be forced to be looking at, what is the Coles brand 2-minute noodles, like bullshit.
That's correct,
should be allowed to feed ourselves to a healthy degree.
Exactly.
It should be the case.
And I think that was what was so shocking about that shop the other day. I was cooking buttered chicken.
Yeah.
And I
not a really fancy butter chicken,
not
right?
a fancy butter chicken.
It's not like you did it with coriander or like...
No, I didn't buy any extra herbs. I learned long ago that it's the little extra things that get you, those extra little herbs, those extra spices. We had all the spices. So I think that's what the shocking thing is. Yeah, what we're trying to say is it's the grocery shopping that's really getting us. Like that's the main expense in our life.
Because we're saying rent is not fucking us because we pay less rent than most people. But $250 like a week, isn't that wild compared to what we were paying 5 years ago, or even a couple of years ago? The last place we were doing $250 in the previous year. Before that, when we were in Marine Parade in St Kilda, what was that, like $210? I think at the very end,
maybe 206 to 210.
Yeah, for several years, and then before that, I mean, then when we had crazy cheap rent, it was $175 a week. We lived in that shithole in Robe Street.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay. So we've always been fairly lucky with rent.
So it's not gone up that crazy. And the idea would be that when we were in Robe Street, Marine Parade, we were in uni and we shouldn't be earning that much. And, we weren't getting Centrelink payments either.
No, we weren't. No, I was working 2 days a week.
Yeah.
And that was enough to survive on. I wasn't saving any money.
Yeah.
But it was pretty much enough to survive on.
Yeah.
Fine for food. I was eating exactly the same as I am now almost.
Yeah.
I was never eating bad food. I was really cheap food. I was buying a bit more takeaway, but I was still cooking meals and I wasn't really having to worry about
and
what I was
drinking a lot
buying.
more then.
And we were drinking a lot more. Yeah, we were going out on weeknights. Uni was costing me a lot of money.
Yeah.
And I was working 18 to 22 hours a week.
Yeah. Yeah.
With 3 years experience.
I'm pretty sure I was still working a full workload of around 40 to 50 hours that week, and I felt so rich.
And I remember looking at you saying,
rich.
Imagine working 38 hours a week, 40 hours a week, you would just have all this money.
Yeah.
And I feel like I had that for a small amount of time.
I had it for a moment.
During or around COVID when things were opening up again and I was living with my parents, you were getting $1,000 a week and it was okay. And these days it just doesn't seem like the case. Obviously, as you get older, maybe you're doing more, you're saving more.
Yeah. But what we're saying is the rent's not the issue.
No, the rent's not the issue.
Even the utility bills for us, internet's always been $60, $70 a month,
Yeah.
split between two for the past whatever
fine.
years it is.
Yeah.
Phone bill hasn't changed. What other like bills? Like our gas and electricity. I mean, we're actually paying less now for our gas and electricity than what we were previously. I think because, say, we don't have like lights on as much in here because we're in such a well lit apartment.
Yeah.
We also don't have an air conditioner in here as well.
No heating.
So it's not utilities that's getting us.
No, it's the groceries.
And yeah, you don't have a car. You don't have car insurance. You're not paying like for fuel.
Yep.
I have a car and I have pretty like low insurance because I'm just on like third party. You know, maybe it's like $70, $80 a month. And then I don't drive that much. I drive like 5,000 to 10,000 Ks a year, which is insanely small amount of driving.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm not even traveling for work. I'm not paying Mikeys.
Yeah, we don't pay for Mikeys.
I
ride a bike to
from
work. Yeah.
I get the tram, 2 stops I don't touch on.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Yeah. And yeah, I think we need to read out. We're not buying bullshit here. Like we don't buy clothes.
No, I might
Ever.
buy one piece of clothing every 2 months.
I can't even
that?
remember the last time I purchased clothes. I think
I might
pair of
be
jeans-
less than that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I buy a shirt every now and then.
yeah.
But I've been wearing the same clothes for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wear
Very
the
rare.
same thing almost.
One
multiple
pair of
times
shoes a
week.
year, you reckon?
Yeah. One pair of shoes a year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not
going away on weekends very rarely, maybe 2-3 times a year for like an actual like sort of weekend away. That's pretty rare.
Yeah, you're talking about several days off from work, like going on like a trip.
Yeah, like booking accommodation somewhere.
So groceries seems to be the thing that's fucking us at the moment.
Yeah. Like when we talk about $60 internet per month, that seems so low when I consider a very small shop at Woolies or Coles. It's very rarely under $60.
Yeah.
And I'm very sort of careful with my shops. I almost buy, like I'm calculated with what I'm going to purchase. I don't do too much in advance. Otherwise I get worried I won't utilize everything I'm buying.
Yeah.
And it's still when I'm eating very simply. Very, very simply. I'm not
Yeah.
buying weird ingredients. It's just
Like we don't snack. We don't eat crisps.
No,
we don't
I don't have any
like,
food in the house.
We don't have corns and yeah.
I've only got the food that I eat purely for functional use.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't.
There's no chocolate.
No biscuits.
No.
What are no lollies?
No.
Yeah.
I'll never be out. Even when I'm out, I never have an impulse buy based on wanting something.
Yeah.
So I'll get a coffee for functional use. That's the only thing. I might get a couple of coffees if I'm out and about doing things. I do a lot of walking. So if I'm out, then I'll have a coffee because I need a coffee. Or if I'm out walking on a long day, I'll buy lunch.
Yeah.
But I won't go into a store and say, oh, I need a soda. I need a soft drink. I'm going to buy that, or I need some chocolate, or I need a snack. That's just not something I do.
No.
Every sort of purchase I make for food is purely on a functional base.
Yeah. And this isn't counting, say, like the dining out you might do with your girlfriend, but we're not talking about that just yet. At least.
And that was much larger a few months ago, early on when we had met. But now it's become very unfeasible. So it might be once a month that we go out for dinner. We went out for dinner the other night, which was probably the first time in 2-3 months we actually went out for dinner.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'll never do that again.
It's insane. It's insane. And
Well, I left hungry. I spent $180 and I left.
yeah. And I probably, I went out for dinner last night, $192, 2 people, 0 alcohol. So.
And you left hungry.
And I left hungry as well.
Yeah.
Because we had one main between 2 people, you know, a couple snacks, couple entrees, fucking bananas.
And it's actually very interesting. Working in hospitality.
Yeah.
I used to always work in hospitality at restaurants and bars, and I would say I would understand a lot about my job from going to bars. I would knew what I want when I go to a restaurant, I go to a bar. from understanding what the customer experience is like from being a customer. Now I have this feeling at my workplace that I'm working in a place that I would never use the facilities of. I'm working in a place that really only serves a very niche portion of the community that can afford it. And if they can't afford it, they're only coming to this place once every 2 years. Like I would never dine at the restaurant I work at. And now I'm in a position where I never would dine out. It's just not something that's feasible for me.
Yeah. And then I suppose on like part of like what adds to that, I suppose, is we're both pretty good cooks, right?
We are, yeah.
And so...
Which used to be a blessing. Now I think it's a curse.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's like the difference between, say, what we can cook at home and the average restaurant's not that significant.
I'm always pretty much going to enjoy food I cook more than a restaurant sometimes.
Yeah.
Like every now and then if I go out, I'll be wowed by something. It is more about the experience. Say you do get a nice bottle of wine, you're having that nice conversation. You're trying something new. In terms of actual taste, like there's nothing, a lot of the time we can really achieve that flavour, that enjoyment at home.
Yeah, because we're just in the industry for too long.
Yeah.
We know, like, we're too good of friends with chefs, understand how, like, food's made.
Yeah.
And I think we also understand how average a lot of the food made in Melbourne restaurants is these days.
Yeah, it's
the fewer restaurants that are truly exceptional.
Yeah, that is very true.
That is
very true.
So, I've really got to describe this challenge more. So, it's now February 1st, and we're going to see across 1 month how, like, economical Francis and I can be with our groceries. And so this isn't a challenge of, like, who can spend the least amount of money, because we're not trying to advocate for, like, starving or eating 2-minute noodles. Like, that defeats the purpose. Like Francis and I both are very conscious of our health. We're very intentional with what we eat. And so what we're trying to advocate for is actually like living a good, nutritious life, or what should be possible for people that are earning decent incomes just below
with no other responsibilities. Yeah, not feeding a family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not having like, a drug problem, an alcohol problem, like, any other crazy like fees. We haven't got car payments to worry about, like none of that. How can we still live a maximized, nutritious life, but do it as efficiently, like as economical as possible?
Yeah.
And I think part of it is like we kind of know we're both going to fail in a way where we're going to get to the end of the month and like I cannot believe how much we've just spent. It's a challenge, but it's also an experiment in a way.
I think it's an experiment. I think we're using it as a way to keep track of each other and keep track of ourselves. And then, but yeah, it's going to be eye-opening. We're going to see how much we actually do spend on these little things. We're essentially going to track everything we consume and how much we pay for it.
Prior to this, were you budgeting your groceries for the week or across a month?
A little bit, but not strictly, no. I'm conscious of it, but I wouldn't be able to tell you how much it is.
Right. What's the little bit you feel like you do or have been doing in terms of budgeting?
In terms of budgeting, I try to design a system for $250 a week to spend on food, and I don't think I'm hitting that. Yeah. So that's getting blown out by a couple of Uber Eats orders a week.
Don't think you're hitting it in terms of you going over.
I'm going over. Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. It adds up. Yeah. And it's from everything. It's from the little food when you're out, buy a couple of sandwiches. If I buy a couple of sandwiches for my partner, then it's easily $50, $60. Yeah. 2 sandwiches and 2 coffees. That's what I bought the other day. That was $58. And then, a couple of Uber Eats a week. Just like a pizza or something. Pizza's going to cost you $28 these days. Yeah.
And would you consider yourself having a relatively normal diet as well?
I think I have a relatively normal diet. It's hard because I think a lot of people don't have a diet that's probably as good as ours. I think a lot of people do.
I mean, mine's different to yours. Mine's more extreme.
Yours is more extreme than mine, but yeah, I mean, I probably eat a little bit more meat than the regular person. But I still think my diet's fairly normal. I'm looking at what? 3 to 4 steaks, 2 to 3 steaks
Yeah.
a week, maybe one pasta dish a week, and then, maybe a curry.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty standard.
Yeah.
And then a couple of sandwiches a week as well.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm not as regimented as you.
no, I really try budget. I've been quite conscious about how much I try to spend a week on groceries. You know, a couple years ago, I felt very confident in terms of I would spend $200 a week on groceries, and that would be pretty solid. Like, that'd be fine. That would get me through the week pretty easily. Now I budget for $250, and somehow it doesn't seem to work. I run out of money as I get to the end of the month. And I have probably a more premium diet to most individuals, being like animal based. I don't eat many carbohydrates, if any. So I'm not having like cheap rice, potatoes, pasta, some of those bulk things, no bread. So I am eating a lot more meat and dairy, which we know is the more expensive like items. And on top of that, I also do try more premium quality products, grass-fed or organic, which adds up. But I feel as though that's a luxury I'm allowed to afford myself, or should be able to afford myself, because
necessary.
Well, yeah, it's like the health thing, but it's more like I sacrifice so much other stuff. You know, I'm not spending money on alcohol. I'm not spending money on tobacco. I'm not spending money on drugs. I'm not spending money on like just other nonsense, bullshit that I should be able to afford that slight of premium on there. I very, very rarely get Uber Eats. I very rarely get food from somewhere in the city on like my lunch break.
Yeah.
It
should make sense.
It's not complex, the food I'm eating as well.
No.
You know, I'm like, for breakfast, I have a 4-egg omelette that's been cooked in a little bit of butter and some cheese on top. And I have a coffee I make at home.
Yeah.
Then for lunch, I'm having a beef patty or like a fillet of chicken, and I'm having some fruit, apple, a couple kiwis. And then for dinner, it's also not super complex. It's usually either a steak or a beef patty or a chicken fillet and a Greek salad.
Very, very simple.
Yeah. Bit of yogurt throughout the week as well. It's pretty basic. Yet somehow it's not working right.
Yeah. I feel like for you, it's like, for me, I feel like there's a lot, this would be far more eye-opening for me.
Yeah.
To actually budget things and see where I'm spending all this bullshit and stuff. For you, it'd be more fascinating because you are already budgeting extremely well.
Yeah.
And you seem to do have it down to an exact science.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure how much improvement you can actually see or achieve.
Yeah.
And maybe yours will just be a realization of, I need to start budgeting for $300. I've got it down perfect already. And I was just budgeting too low.
Yeah. Well, I think we're both, I think the way that we can talk about tactics of how we're going to handle this challenge or this experiment. I think I need to somehow be more creative. So how we're both starting this month is purchasing our meat in bulk from an online butcher.
Yep.
And the idea being that we can get a premium quality meat in bulk for a little bit cheaper than what it would be theoretically than just buying individual items from Woolworths. In theory, that should be the case. It might not actually, come out like that. And I think I've got to be more creative in some other ways, that if I want to be, I used to make my own yogurt, which you'd think pre-making all your yogurt for a month would save some money, but I
not
don't know if
always
it's,
the case,
I don't
yeah.
know if it is going to save that much money and the time
Yeah,
I have to
time
invest
is-
into doing that as well.
Yeah.
Some other things I'm thinking about, what if I was making my own kefir, and I'm thinking about it in the sense that if I have to go out and purchase the kefir fermenter, that has to come into like the recorded spend, because I'm
Yeah.
trying to make the bet on purchasing the glass container for a kefir fermenter and the little kefir grains will be cheaper than me purchasing several liters of kefir every week
Yeah.
for the month.
Yeah, exactly.
And so I think I have to almost be creative in that sense, which is kind of wild. It's like I'm almost having to revert back to making all my food at this
It is
point.
wild,
Like
yeah.
that's how like simple I'm going with it. Like
Yeah.
the only step further than this is actually producing my own food. Like
Yeah,
like
yeah.
buying
Buying a
raw,
cow.
buying raw ingredients and then having to turn it into something.
Yeah.
So
Well, I think that's going to be the interesting part of this. Yeah, where we can both find tactics to maximize
Yeah.
this food. Yeah, my
Yeah.
brain's already going to a butcher and just buying a large piece of meat and cutting it myself
yeah.
would
Yeah.
be cheaper, or buying cheaper cuts of meat. But there always seems to be a cost to it. So if you are, and I think this is what we're going to find out with this challenge, is that, yeah, so if you're buying a cheaper cut of meat, yeah, that's great. It's going to take longer to cook. You're losing time there. You got to do more elaborate things.
Yeah, the planning involved in that.
Planning involved in that. And that's what my downfall is. So if I'm struggling with time or I haven't organized myself well enough, the idea of just a cheap, quick buy of food is so appealing.
Yeah.
I don't need to cook. I don't need to go down the street. I don't need to clean up. It's just done. And even a steak, that's why steak is so good. You know, it's so quick, it's so nutritional. You just chuck it in a pan and you're done.
Pretty
5
satisfied
minutes.
as well.
Very
And
satisfied.
It's like, it's not as if a couple hours later you're hungry again. Like if you have a pasta, an hour later you're hungry again.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You have a steak, you're pretty much good for the next 8 hours.
So yeah, I think my overarching tactic for the month is I've got to somehow be creative here.
Yeah.
In some way. I'm not sure how, because as you said, I've simplified everything
yeah.
down to such a, like, it's so methodical how I eat. It's almost sad.
Yeah.
Yeah, the other thing, what is my other tactic? I mean, at a more practical level, I think the beef mince thing, just having more just straight
Beef mince seems to
beef
be
mince.
the cheapest, most nutritional thing
Yeah.
that you can. That seems to be where you can make your money back. Like you can get away with a lot there.
Yeah.
It's the last sort of reservoir of like, this is cheap. And it used to be
Yeah.
a lot cheaper,
Yeah.
but now it's not. And like you can get a lot of calories out of it. But yeah, once again, it's not a quick thing to cook.
No.
So you do need to take a bit more planning with it.
Yeah.
You can cook it in bulk, and then you got to use your freezer space for that. So that's probably what I'll start doing. I'll probably start doing more meal prep,
Yeah.
and then
Meal preps, I think, where you can win big.
yeah,
I think you're right.
Yeah, and you're saving that time. You've already got the food at home. Yeah, and then yeah, my other tactic, well, yeah, definitely having food in the house once I finish work, which is what I've been doing recently. I buy a sourdough loaf, which is pretty expensive. It's $8 for a loaf of bread.
Price of bread's
Yeah,
insane.
and I'm not going to buy awful bread.
Would
I'm
you
not buying
start
sliced
making your
bread.
own bread?
See, that's a loss for me. I think like that, the amount of time that would take, especially for this month,
Yeah.
it would just blow things out and probably cause me to get frustrated.
Yeah.
And I would spend more on something else.
Yeah, so that's not a tactic you're going to take.
No. So I think like for me, sliced cheese and my sourdough bread, that's probably 2 to 3 meals after work. Good amount of calories in there. I can get away with that.
Yeah.
$3 hot sauce serves me pretty well. And I get excited for that. After work, if I finish at 10:30 or if I finish at 12, I can go home and not feel that, because I'm absolutely starving when I get home from work, which is usually my downfall. But if I've got that to come home to,
I was
minced
thinking
meat
about this before,
and
actually.
then cheap fruit.
Like, I'm larger than you, so I'm, like, in theory, would, like, burn more calories. But because you work in hospo, your average heart rate's going to be higher than mine throughout the day. So I think you still burn more calories than me. So I think you're
Potentially,
like, at a body level, I think we're actually on like equal then at that point.
Yeah.
Because-
So that's something to consider. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think it actually equals out.
Yeah, and then it's like my roster changes around a bit more than you, so you could argue like I can't have the same daily routine.
Yeah.
So it's a bit more chaotic. So
Definitely makes it more challenging.
I'm working some days 9:30 to 5, probably 2 times a week. One day 10:30 to 6, another day 4 till 10:30, and then another day I'm working 5:45 to 12. So there's a little bit more sort of chaos in the actual schedule. I can't adhere to the same strictness. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. I think if we describe what we're actually doing, so we're going to do a spreadsheet. We're going to record everything we consume and how much it costs.
Yep.
Even if, for example, I'm going to my parents' house for dinner on Monday night, that's not going to cost me anything. I'm still going to include what I've consumed there.
Yeah.
So we're really looking at price and sort of nutritional intake.
Yeah.
As you said, it's not purely about who can spend the less money.
No.
The goal initially was who can spend the less on groceries for the week as a little game for ourselves. But we are going to look at, who's getting the most value for their money, who's still living a healthy lifestyle.
Living on like a normal life. So it's normal for you to go to your parents' house and get a free meal there. Yeah. It's normal to, maybe get takeaway once a week.
Well, I think that sentence there has been what has been ruining me for years. The fact that it's normal to get takeaway once or twice a week. You're hungry.
But doing it once a week is not, I mean, that's what families have been doing forever, right? Like,
I know.
as we were children, getting takeaway once a week was normal.
But I don't think it is anymore.
Do you think it's a lot higher?
I think it's normal, but I don't think it's feasible is what I'm trying to say. For me, I'd almost think like that $50 that it's going to cost you is not, like I'd say it's not worth it. And I always say takeaway is so expensive. Yeah. But then I go down the street and it's costing me more for the same price of one meal as well. So yeah. Like if I was to order a $28 pizza, it would be cheaper than buying all the ingredients, I think. If I was to literally buy all the ingredients from scratch to make one pizza, obviously I'm going to get more longevity out of it. I could make 2 to 3 pizzas, but it's still going to cost me more than that initial purchase. Yeah. Even a pasta. Like if you look at a pasta online, it's going to cost you $30 or maybe $25. Yeah. The portion isn't huge, but if I was to go down the street and buy all the ingredients for a pasta, I'm not getting that for under $25.
No. And we're not talking about just pasta and a tin of tomatoes. Like we're talking about a genuine pasta. Yeah.
Yeah. Your pasta, pasta sauce, garlic, olive oil, onion. Yeah. Yeah. A little bit of protein. But it's going to be interesting. And I'm going to try to live as normal of a life as possible. But I don't think, I think I will be affected by the challenge a little bit. And I hope I'm not, but I'm sure I'm going to be out with my partner and she's going to say, hey, do you want to go out for dinner? I was like, oh yeah, we can go out for dinner. And then a few minutes later, why don't we just cook at home? Yeah. The competitive element will come into it, I believe.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I know that, it should though. I mean, because we're trying to, because what are we saying? The best case scenario is we come out of this month and we're like, oh, I've got an extra like $300-400 here. Yeah. That's the best case scenario, right?
I think so. And we've learned techniques that we can use in the future.
Yeah. Right.
I think it's getting so dire that we need to force ourselves to compete against each other in order to find a solution.
Yes. I've got it. And as well as, because we've been talking a lot about food, we're talking about other consumables as well. So that's dishwashing liquid, it's toilet paper, it's like soap, coffee, toothpaste, toothbrushes, like razors might come into it as well. Haircuts aren't coming into it. That's not coming into it.
No, I'd say it's anything sort of grocery based.
Grocery based. Things supermarket based.
Haircuts are luxury.
Yeah.
And that's it's things that keep us going as humans, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So things that calories, energy. Yeah. Yeah. Almost viewing us as a factory, what we need to keep the factory going. Yeah. Like a factory needs cleaning supplies, like we need cleaning supplies.
Yeah. Just for like, normal societal living, like there's hygienic cleaning supplies that you need. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. It's going to be, I'm
actually very excited.
Yeah. I'm actually worried now because as we've like spelled out what I'm currently doing, it seems pretty inconceivable, like how much more refined I can actually.
Yeah, exactly. We're coming from very different spaces. Like for me, it's
Yeah.
going to be like shocking. I think the amount to actually record it.
Yeah.
But I haven't really been doing that.
Yeah. But you also, like you say, as you said, you don't do big shops, like, or plan out your week really.
No.
It's more sporadic. I do like a weekly shop.
Yeah.
And I might top it up when necessary.
It's going to be, for you, it does seem.
It's pretty dire.
Yeah. I think you're going to go to a point where like you can become so creative that it's almost like a detriment to you in the sense that, you are just spending more time almost like accidentally creating a kitchen in your home. Like you're like all of it, at the end of the week, you might like, why am I making this kefir? Like, why am I, I'm doing stuff that would only be necessary if I was actually a producer of this ingredient. Yeah.
I mean, I'm trying.
So I suppose what we could do is for the month, try be as extreme as possible. Not try to say we're going to do this for the rest of our lives.
No.
But really see how low we can actually get it in a way that probably wouldn't. So if you want to start, making your own kefir. If I need to go out to this butcher and like get this big slab of meat and stuff, something that I might not want to do for the rest of my life, for the rest of the year.
The idea is
we'll still try it.
Yeah. And the idea is like we might actually get some tools out of this which are feasible to do.
Yeah, exactly.
And because worst case scenario is we end up spending more money somehow.
Yeah.
Or there's zero change. Or there's only like $20 saved. Like really where we want already expecting like a $200 decrease, right?
A week or a month?
Across a month.
I reckon it's going to be, for me, I think it's going to be like huge. I'm looking to save
You've got
$1,000. And I'm sort of viewing it as making money. Like it's money I have that I'm not spending. I'm sort of competing against myself.
Yeah, you've got a lot of opportunity here, I think, to save a lot of money.
Yeah, exactly. I can picture you being extremely dissatisfied at the end of this month.
Yeah.
And myself being just like, ecstatic.
Yeah.
But then again, I've got a lot more work to do.
Yes.
Like you've already got this in place. Like I don't have these systems in place.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know, if my partner buys me, I think it evens out. I'm buying her food.
Yeah.
She's buying me food. If she buys me food, I'll still record it. If I buy her food, I might do a little note. No, I'm not going to. I might include the price.
Yeah.
But I'll sort of view it as I've consumed it. So I'll consider that as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you can get both sides of it. If she buys you a meal.
Yeah, I'll write it down $0.
Yeah.
If I buy, I'll write what I've bought for her.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be using. I don't know. I hope she doesn't become the victim of this.
Maybe tell her we're doing this.
Yeah, maybe I will.
Yeah, maybe tell her.
Yeah.
She's wondering like,
why am I being so cheap?
Yeah.
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 Finds me in the middle of the night just raiding her fridge.
Yeah.
With a notepad.
Mass consuming. Yeah.
Butter.
Yeah.
It'll be curious to see how we go health-wise during the month as well.
Yeah, actually, I was going to say before, I might weigh myself. I mean, I already know how much I weigh. I'm 80.4 kilograms.
Yeah.
And I wasn't intentionally trying to, like, say, bulk in this month, or definitely wasn't trying to cut weight either. It'll be, I'd like to put on a little bit of weight.
Okay.
Like, if I went from 80.4 to, say, 82, which isn't a crazy amount of weight to put on across a month period. It's really not.
Well, I would also like to put on some weight this month as well. So I think that's good. We're both.
Do you know how much you weigh at the moment?
I weigh about 34 kilograms at the moment. I'd like to get that up to 37. No, I reckon I weigh about 61.
Yeah.
If I could get up to, I feel like it always fluctuates between 61 and 63.
Yeah, okay.
So 65 would be the most amazing thing in the world.
Dude, if you put on 4 kilos, a kilo a week.
That'd be the challenge. If I could save money while putting that on.
Yeah, that's a lot, a kilo a week. That was like the most I ever did, and I put on a lot of fat when I did that. That's a big bulk.
I mean, I've
Half a
got
kilo is considered pretty good.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how we go. Let's see how we go. I might weigh do we have any scales here?
No.
I might weigh myself
Is there a scales at your
on
work?
Monday night at my parents' house. There's scales.
Yeah, do it.
Yeah.
Do it.
To find out what I actually am and then see how I go. Yeah, I think in talking about like even the idea of just gaining weight, it really does feel like I am really starting to view my body really as a factory or a business. Yeah. Like just in terms of like revenue being nutrition and calories.
Yeah.
Against like, expenditure and how much I can get in.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I will start doing sort of strange or irresponsible things, like just if butter is calorically the highest thing I can buy for the cheap, just eating sticks of butter.
Yeah.
I think the idea is like this month will be extreme.
I mean, dude, if you put on any weight, I'd be impressed, to be honest.
Right.
I'd be impressed. If I mean, honestly, even if I got to 82 kilos, like if I put on a kilo and a half in weight, predominantly like say muscle mass, I'd be impressed with that.
What were you? What was the highest you were? 85?
85 kilos. Yeah.
Nice. And then you did the cut for what, 3 months?
No, I didn't think it was that long. It might have been actually. Yeah. And so then I got down to 78 kilos and now I sit at 80.5.
Oh, nice. So since 2 kilos you've gained since you started eating normally again.
Yeah. Yeah. Which it wasn't fat. I think it was just more like some muscle.
Did you save much money when you were cutting? Did you notice that?
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't eating. I was starving myself.
Yeah, right.
I mean, I was like, I halved my portion of my breakfast. And then I wasn't eating lunch. And then my dinner was also like a half portion as well. I was saving a lot of money. So that's why this challenge is not about starving yourself, because you can save money doing that. I mean, for me, I was saving a heap of money.
Well, then I think we still have the option for that though. Like, I know it's not about starving yourself, but I suppose if the end goal is, I mean, the end goal, the competition really isn't who spends the less money. We do want to see.
I was also losing a lot of weight quickly.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's why we're not recommending that to people.
No.
If I was maintaining
Depends
a
what
weight,
the goal is.
if I was maintaining a weight, then I'd be like, maybe people are just eating too much.
Should we add a new thing into this competition? Who can gain the most weight? Should that be the criteria?
I don't know if it's getting too complex, because like, I mean, you're not going to a gym as well, so that your body's not being put in a place of like developing weight.
Yeah.
I think you could just gain fat.
I could gain fat. I am working out more at home.
Yeah.
I never used to do that. I am doing that.
Yeah.
Almost every day, every second day now, just from body weight exercises. So I could just continue doing that.
Yeah.
But maybe that'll be a little side note who can gain the most.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's like, it'd definitely be a loss if weight is lost over the month, or it stays stagnant as a small L, I think, across the month.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
We'll take it in when we do our marking and our review of the month.
Yeah. I'm really trying to be creative in my mind right now, and what like things I can do. I was thinking about, like, say I want to have some like beef broth to consume over the month. Okay. Is it cheaper for me to actually purchase like soup bones, or is it cheaper for me to buy one of those jars of the like concentrated beef concentrate? Yeah, which might be $26. But I reckon to buy, and that's grass-fed organic.
Yeah.
Compared to buying, like, if I think I was to buy a kilo of soup bones, which might give me, say, 2 weeks worth of like this broth, I think would cost me $20, $30. Like, I think it's actually cheaper to buy
How much
that
is the
concentrate.
jar?
So I think it's like $26, something like that.
$26? I thought
Yeah.
it was like 10, 15.
No.
The one I had in the fridge the other day?
Yeah, that one. Oh, no. That's the cheaper version of it. I'm thinking of like this, like, it's like best of bone or something. Which I know that one I used to get in the past.
Seems like a lot of work to create your own
beef broth.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's
storage
more, the storage part's a bit troublesome.
I mean, for you, I do start seeing what you mean. You are sort of at a little bit of a loss for what more you can do.
Yeah. And I think my challenge is if I say the past 2 months, I've just been, say, maintaining my weight. I haven't really put on anything, or even just like the past month, we'll say. But I think it's been a bit longer than that. And I don't want to start consuming carbohydrates like just rice or pasta or just like potatoes or breads in there, because it doesn't. I feel sick when I eat
Doesn't
that.
serve you. Yeah.
And
it's not worth the extra weight gain.
yeah, exactly. So how am I going to gain weight without increasing like how much I'm spending like significantly at the same time? Like, that's a big challenge.
Maybe it's just milk. Maybe it's just like you just have.
I'm already consuming 6 to 8 liters of milk a week.
That's a lot.
Yeah,
that's an extraordinary amount of milk.
I know.
I don't know. Maybe this is what the challenge is for. Maybe we need to look. One of us can order some weird like weight gaining like calorie thing from China or something. I mean, that defeats the purpose. Could be unhealthy.
Yeah.
I think I'm just trying to find calorie dense foods.
Yeah. Some black market trade of food.
I mean, there are no rules. We can do whatever we want. If you want to, yeah. I mean, if we knew how to hunt and we hunted a deer, like we'd automatically win this.
Yeah. If that's the conclusion we come out of this, that we just need to start hunting.
Exactly.
It wouldn't be the worst thing, but if we figured out like the price of like one rifle between us, that might be say like a second-hand rifle that we might be able to get somewhere around $600, maybe $1,000 at most, and we hunt one deer that could then last you and I potentially 2 to 3 months.
Yeah, he's sorted.
Very sorted.
Very sorted.
Very, very sorted.
Very sorted.
I suspect I'm probably going to end up spending around $400, probably more, on just meat alone for the month.
Mm.
With
this meat we're going to get ordered. Yeah. I mean, I always view that as like, all right, this is what I used to do with Cherry Tree, the other meat place we used to order from. Is that I've got this really high nutritional food here. If I eat this a few times a week, and I can sort of substitute that with some cheaper meat as well, I'm getting such a good nutritional value out of this that I can be a little bit worse on other things I have during the week. So if I have this stuff, then I don't need to buy the high quality meat from Woolies for a steak. I can buy some cheaper stuff and then save money through that, which I think is what I'll do for this.
It's shame we don't have like a like another individual who's kind of like the baseline, the kind of what's like the pseudo pill, like the placebo pill. We need the placebo
control
individual,
variable,
control variable, like another friend of ours who we know doesn't think about, say, like the food they're spending, or like they're not intentional with the quality they're eating, just to see like as a comparable what they're spending.
Well, what we should have done is just like we should have just tracked my spending for last month. Yeah. For what I actually did consume and like how much I did when I wasn't really paying attention to it at all. Yeah. And seeing how much I actually do save. Yeah. But I think it'll be sort of evident. Like I'll know how much money I have at the end.
You know how you said that you were aiming for say $250 a week, and it was always ending up a lot more than that. Do you think you could get a pretty decent estimate of like what you were spending a week? Have we thought about it?
I don't know.
So let's say
last week?
Yeah.
I mean, I went out for dinner. It cost me $180. Like, that's a lot of money.
Yeah. Say we're not including, like, how many Uber Eats across the week?
Did I buy?
Three's average, right?
I think I ordered Uber Eats. I had 3 times last week.
Okay.
So I had it last night, the night before, and then I ordered one as well.
Average is $60, you reckon?
I think it was 50.
Okay, $50, yeah.
Was it $150?
So $150 for the week, and then what about your groceries on top of it across the week? What do you think? Just the supermarket groceries.
I mean, just the supermarket. Jesus. I haven't been there that much this week, I don't think.
Yeah, okay. Or like in a normal week.
I don't know.
Over 200, right? Though?
Easily over 200.
So let's say it's 250.
Yeah.
Plus the 150 from the Uber Eats is $400. and then like
I think it would be all up 400. I think if I'm out more, I'm not going to the supermarket that much. I'm going 2 or 3 times a week, and each one might be $60. Like I don't think it's that much. So I think it might be 400 a week, including
if you went out and grabbed lunch somewhere.
Yeah, like I spent 50. I still remember like that Tuesday morning. I spent $50, yeah.
Yeah.
And then I'd buy for like the 2 sandwiches. Yeah. So I don't know. It's going to be very enlightening,
Yeah.
this whole process.
Yeah.
Of just recording every single thing I consume.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking of like some of the other things that you and I don't purchase compared to most people. Is say like body, like hygienic, like cleaning stuff as well.
No,
you know,
I don't wash my hair.
Yeah.
I haven't washed my hair.
I haven't got any fucking
You haven't
hair.
got any hair, yeah.
So I'm not buying shampoo or conditioner. I don't use moisturizers.
Don't use moisturizers. I haven't washed my hair in 4 months, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, or condition it in 4 months.
Yeah.
And then never use any moisturizer. I don't use sunscreen.
Yeah.
Toothpaste once a week, if that. Once every like a week and a half.
You mean you use toothpaste once a week, or you're purchasing?
No, I'm purchasing it. Yeah, I don't shave. I've got an electric razor.
You're not paying for shaving cream or razors. Razors are so expensive. No. It's crazy how expensive they are.
Yeah.
And there's no way that like plastic or metal is getting more expensive on those
Yeah,
things.
I know. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Disgusting how expensive razors are.
I think my coffee is out. Like, I think that might add up.
Stinging you?
I reckon I'm getting 4 or 5 a week.
So $25 a week, roughly, a bit more, $30 a week.
Yeah.
Across a month.
It's not crazy, is it?
No, it's not.
Across a month, what? That's $100.
$30 compared to an average shop, you know?
Yeah, it's the average shop that just gets me.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't know. It'll be very interesting, this whole process. And then I mean, I'm curious to see how different the difference in payment.
Yours is going to be insane. If we're saying your average is $400 a week, so $1,200 a month.
But like the difference between what you and I spend, you think it'll be hugely different?
Oh.
That's what I'm like. If we both do it right, if I can get mine actually right and stick to this, like how different ours actually is.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I feel like I'm going to be way higher than you. Way higher.
Yeah, but I feel like I've got a lot more volatility. Mine's like if it goes wrong. If it goes well, it'll be okay, but there's a lot more.
Because I feel like you still need to be doing your, like, say, more interesting dinners that you usually do when you do, like, say, like a fancier pasta.
Yeah. I still need
like
that's a part of my life.
Like a fancier salad kind of thing. Like that's the normal meal you're having. Like that. I think if you're avoiding that,
that's always going to cost me $80, $90, especially if I do it with law.
Yeah.
So, and I've sort of factored that in. Like that's one. Like I'm not going to take that out of my life. Like we should be able to cook one nice dinner.
Yeah.
A week. That's not extravagant.
Yeah.
But it's a dinner where I don't want to think about what we're spending on. I still sort of do. But yeah, that's easily $90, sometimes $100.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a $100 meal.
Yeah.
So it's essentially is eating out. But
yeah, because I think God, I haven't got much room to wiggle here.
It's 1,000. What do you budget now? 1,000
a month. Yeah. Yeah. And I don't feel like it works.
What are you aiming to get it down to?
Fuck. I mean, if I can...
For the month. At the end of the month, how much do you want to say you spent? It doesn't seem like much.
I think it would be remarkable if I was only spending $200 a week. That'd be remarkable, to be honest.
$800 for a month seems like nothing on food.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. But that would be remarkable, I think. Which doesn't seem crazy. Like if I said, I just want to spend $50 less per week... because what do we talk about? Like, how good it'd be if our salary was increased by, $10,000 a year, and that's only adding on another like $100 per week.
Yeah.
So what we're trying to do is
earn $10,000 more dollars a year.
Yeah.
Wait, 200 times. So 50 times 52. What's that?
50 times 52.
Yeah.
Isn't that like $2,500? Yeah.
So if you say $50 a week, it's $2,500 a year. That's pretty good. It's a holiday. It's like a big portion of a holiday. It's plane tickets.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's easily plane tickets. Yeah. It's two people's plane tickets. Yeah.
I'll go to Europe.
Going to Europe, you can get a flight for $1,600.
You reckon?
100%. Yeah. 100%.
Why do you help with that?
Yeah, you might be doing a 45-hour round trip through Mongolia and Ukraine.
Exactly.
No, I can definitely help you with the flights. I'm pretty good with that. Do you reckon you were looking at 2,500 for a return flight from Europe?
Yeah.
Dude, that's wild.
That's how much I spent last year. So 2,800.
You're joking.
Yeah. I mean, I did fly with Emirates.
Yeah.
But even when I was looking the other day for going to France in the middle of the year, it was $3,000.
I got some tricks.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I got some tricks.
I might need to call on you for that.
100%. I think the last 2 flights I got to Europe in 2023, it was $1,600, and I thought that was insane.
Yeah, wow.
And I think the year before that, it was like $1,200.
My God, it's nothing.
Yeah, I'm pretty good. My flight to Thailand return, I think, was like $500.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, fascinating.
Yeah, I'll help you out with that. Yeah, I'm trying to think what are going to be the biggest challenges for this month. I think the missing the meal prep one for me will fuck me. I think if I say the other day I fucking made myself breakfast. I made myself lunch in the morning. I cooked it and I forgot to bring it with me. And
was that the steak I saw left out?
Yeah.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Yeah. And so then that day I was trying just to eat some of like the free fruit at work. And because I didn't have like a huge breakfast or I didn't eat the night before, I was so hungry. So I had to go out and spend, $18 on lunch.
Yeah. I think the biggest challenges for me, I don't know. I think it'd just be like if I'm going out doing something, just eating before. So just planning much more.
Yeah.
So knowing I've got a quick meal there and just meal prep. Yeah, I just need a meal prep.
Yeah.
Something that I can heat up. You don't have time to cook a full scale meal and clean if you want to live a life. Like you can't do that every day.
Like, I mean, that's what I fucking do.
I mean, you're quick, but that's like a quick
quick.
steak, like omelette.
Yeah.
Like if I want to cook
I've been
a
mastering
bolognese.
the technique on those things for almost 3 years now.
Exactly,
To a fucking
like
art.
a bolognese. Like I can't come home. Like I finish work, I want to work on my own things when I get home from work.
Yeah.
If I get home, if I finish at 6, get home at 6:30, which is still good. Half an hour to get home. Well, if I'm going, I usually go to the shop, so I'm not home till 7:15.
Yeah.
7, and then it's like an hour to cook.
Yeah.
And eat, and then it's still like 8:30, and it's like you got half an hour to sort of do stuff, and then it's not much time. So my thing is going to be really maximizing meal prep, so I can just have something, throw it in a saucepan, and heat it up.
Yeah.
And then I mean that's the hard thing with carbs; they take a little bit longer to cook.
Yeah. I think the other challenge both you and I have is, say, you and I at the moment are like maintaining our current weight pretty much.
Yeah.
But we've both set a challenge within this challenge of gaining a little bit of weight. So there's going to have to be some like little tricks in there to try increase our calorie intake across the month. And so it's like I'm already thinking, is having an avocado with my breakfast in the morning, is that going to be, is that going to work? Is that enough? How many calories are in that avocado actually have a substantial impact?
Yeah.
Is it, say, throwing a bit of sour cream in or some cottage cheese with that like beef patty in the middle of the day kind of thing? Making sure that you're always eating like a little bowl of yogurt at the end of the night. Like,
I don't know. It's going to be hard. And like I want to start, I have goals to do more cardio this month as well, which is going to probably fuck me as well. I want to do more running and more walking. So that might completely shot things out, but I don't know. I'm just going to, right now I'm always sort of conscious of trying to eat as much as I can, but it's not, I have been sort of maintaining it.
I was going to say the other unique challenge you and I have is a water issue.
Yeah. We're spending money on liquids. We just don't have any water at home. Yeah.
Our kitchen sink doesn't have cold water coming out of it.
No.
And so we sort of like have to rely on then say purchasing water like out of bottles from the supermarket or
soda
like
water or
coconut water and stuff like that.
Water.
Yeah. I'm trying to figure out how I can I mean, coconut water is not that expensive. Like usually, because what I do is I buy 4 coconut waters when it's like either half price or like 40% or 30% off, and they're like $2.50 each or something like that. And so, but I'm drinking like four 4 of them across like a week.
Yeah, it's not
It's only like $10. It's not that bad.
Yeah.
It's not that bad. So like, because I was trying to think, if I buy bulk, like if I can buy a case of coconut water from somewhere, is that going to save me a little bit more money here? I don't know. Probably not.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, we don't want to be bargain hunters as well.
No, you always got to be aware of that thing, and like, if there's one thing on sale that I was already going to buy, then buy it. But for me, it's like if I buy something that's not necessary, like I'm not going to use it anyway. Like, I think for me, it's just going to be maximizing those calories through milk, cheese, mincemeat.
Yeah. All pretty expensive goods, so.
Yeah, but I feel like the sliced cheese isn't too bad. I mean, it's still $10. I think when you work out the calories, there's quite a lot of calories in that thing. You get 2 little packets. I mean, I'm about to go down the shops now, so I'm going to I'm very excited to do my first sort of attempt at this.
Well, I think we're gonna buy like our meat. Hold on. Yeah, so we're about to do our online meat order. Then you're going to go down to the shops because we got to get some food before that meat order like comes in. And then I'm also going to go to the shops today as well. So it's an interesting day, like starting the month out.
Yeah, and it worked out perfectly. This is the first of the month. And I'm very, very excited just to track how much food we're actually taking in, almost how many calories, and where this money's going. Because it's going somewhere. We can both agree that this money is going somewhere. We're just not sure where.
Yeah.
And then,
Hey, good luck.
I think I'll need it.
Yeah.
I think I'll need it.
Yeah, I don't I'm so nervous about there's nothing coming out the other side for me. Like there's just no hope.
Oh yeah.
Like, essentially I'm
you just get more.
Like I have actually already just got it down as much as it possibly can. And there's just no improvement possible.
Yeah. I mean, I'm very worried for that as well. Yeah. Like you might, if you end up spending more this week, then it would be very, very dark.
If I've got kind of like the wiggle room of an additional $200. So like, if I go above the $1,000 a month and I've got that additional like 200 in there, if I go past that, then
well, so that's your $1,000 a month. So maybe you're going for 800 and I'm going for 1,000.
Yeah.
That seems so small.
Doesn't seem like $800 seems like such a small amount for a month's worth of groceries.
Let's count in dollars. Like that's crazy. A month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then again, I swear, like when I ask people how much a week do you spend on groceries, they're like, $130.
It's
I'm like,
crazy.
how the fuck is that possible?
I don't know.
Or like $110 a week.
I don't know what they're eating.
Yeah. There's no way. That's impossible in my mind. Absolutely impossible.
Well, I'm just trying to figure it out.
Like,
so if I only ate steaks, so my steaks cost me
$14.50.
$14.50. So if I ate 2 a day,
is that all you'd have to eat though?
We'll just like say, I mean, imagine if you had 3 a day.
Yeah.
Would that be enough? I don't think it would be almost.
It could be pretty close though. So 3 steaks a day at
So $14.50 times 3.
Yep.
I think it was 43. So 43 times 30. It's a month. That's 1,290.
Okay. Yeah. Can you divide that by 4? I just want to see for a week.
322.
322 a week.
I'm surprised by that. See, I don't think if you literally only ate 3 steaks a day, it almost doesn't seem like that much food.
No, it doesn't.
If you never went out for dinner?
Yeah, and you're not buying anything else.
No.
That does seem crazy that it would cost you $1,300 a month.
I think you'd be very hungry.
No, I don't think you'd be hungry. I think it's more that I'm pretty shocked by that as well.
I think if I was really just trying to start this out, I could, if I just did 2 a day, so 14 times 2 is 39. Times 30. 870.
Yeah, that seems crazy. Like, I only eat 2 steaks a day and water. It costs me $900 a month.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I think you're right about this mint. So if we're spending like $12 on mint for that 500 grams, and that's like
200 grams more.
And it's 2 meals in a day, so that's $6 a meal. But what we're saying is,
you're not just eating mince though. You're not just eating mince.
well, my lunch is just like a beef patty with a bit of salt on it.
Right.
Yeah. This is going to be interesting.
It's gonna be very interesting. I don't know if I could get to $1,000 a month.
Yeah.
I'd be happy. I think that's my goal.
Yeah. I think my goal is going to be sub 1,000. If it's 900, I'd be pretty stoked.
Yeah.
If it's 800, I will be shocked if I can do that. Absolutely shocked. And I'm going to be thinking of some very creative things. I've got some ideas. Yeah, I've got some ideas, but yeah. If I can get it 800, that would be insane to me.
Yeah.
Which seems kind of ridiculous to think. I don't actually think it's possible. I don't think I'm going to be able to do it.
I don't know, man. Like, it just seems like you're just sacrificing so much. Like, if you eat carbs, like for me, if I can just live off like the steak and then like get these calories up with the rice, I'm still just like ruining myself because like my night's gone. If I come home and eat a whole thing of rice and meat, that rice is going to ruin my night.
Yeah.
Like, that's the issue. I won't be able to do anything. So I don't know. Maybe it's like before I go to bed, I just eat this whole thing of rice and knock myself out. Oh.
Yeah. I'm worried about the impact things like olive oil will have.
Yeah.
I'm worried about the impact something like that.
You need a bit of olive oil though. Like,
you do.
You know?
You do.
You need butter. You need good butter. You need milk. It's good.
Eggs, eggs sting me.
Yeah.
Big. Although that was probably why I saved my, got through last week because there was no eggs in any of the supermarkets. Yeah. And, I did starve myself though because I didn't eat breakfast for like a full week.
Yeah, right.
So,
which is not what you want to do.
No.
No. Well, best of luck to you, Sam.
Thank you. Good luck to you. Godspeed. Okay.
Godspeed.
We can tie this off here. I'm just wondering if there's any challenges I could set for someone that might even like listen to this. Or maybe it's just like post a comment, send me a message. I want to know how much money everyone else is spending per week on groceries. If you do this challenge as well, like across a month, please tell me how much in a month you're spending on groceries. I need to know, I think for my own sanity, what everyone else is going at with this.
Yeah, I think
because if I'm not kind of beating you after this month, then fuck, I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do.
Yeah. If we go through this whole month of just calculating every single thing that we consume and buy and say, I spent $1,000 and someone says, I spent $300 a month.
I only do $100 a week.
I don't know. I'm always fascinated by like how little people seem to eat.
Yeah.
Or like how I just don't know how they do it. I don't know. I just feel like I need to eat so much food, and I'm always so hungry.
But you are burning a crazy amount of calories working in hospitality.
Yeah, I know. I think that's what it is.
For sure.
Like the hunger I feel at the end of a shift is ridiculous. Yeah.
Okay, let's close it out there. Thank you for joining, everyone. Sam Powell Podcast. We'll give you an update maybe in like 2 weeks' time on how we're going on this.
We're rocking away.
Yeah, and then there'll be like a recap at the end of the month. So probably like March 1st or something like that. Nice.
Exciting.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
Thanks for having me. That was incredibly enjoyable.